cultural selling. It has to do with the fact that different cultures buy things for different reasons. When you're selling directly to consumers, like you're in car sales, and you're selling Audis, your customers from different cultures are going to buy sometimes for different reasons. Now, this all started when I was just starting out in car sales, and I went to a bunch of trainings about selling Audis. They would tell us that the way to speak to the customer would be to really concentrate on the quiet cool of the Audi. The fact that it's an understated, sophisticated product that wasn't as loud and brash and bossy as the BMW or the other brands. Really, they were telling us to talk to the customer and tell them that the Audi was much, much kind of more of a quiet cool, something that wouldn't attract too much attention and be seen as overly showy, especially in the Bay Area, where a lot of people are a little bit more reserved with the way that they act and the way that they dressed, compared to LA, where people are a little bit more showing off. They were totally right. The trainers were right. A lot of customers would go, yeah, I don't want to be seen as that guy driving the $50,000 BMW, but driving the $50,000 Audi, that's much cooler. But I did run into places where it wouldn't work that well. I'd tell it to some customers that, Audi was understated and not everybody needs to show off, and the Audi is really the discerning buyer's car. You have to be super discerning. That was a word we use a lot. And while it resonated with some people, it didn't resonate with everybody. And this all came to a head when it was about a quiet Monday evening. I'm just finishing up, sending a couple of emails in Dealer Socket, and a customer comes in. Really, suave looking Indian gentleman, marketing guy for one of the big tech companies. And he comes in, he drives the A6, we're talking about the A6, he seems pretty excited, but then he stops me. He says, Andre, why should I buy the Audi instead of the BMW? And in the back of my head, whenever anybody asks me that, I'm always like, well, you should buy the one you like more. But obviously I want to sell my Audi, so I'm like, the Audi has this quiet, sophisticated, understated cool that it's not so showy, whereas the BMW is too showy, it's brash, you're trying to show off, and it's more of the LA culture. And the guy just kind of nods his head and he laughs. And he ends up buying a car. But at the end of the whole process, when we're finishing up the paperwork, I'm excited, I made a sale, I really think everything that I said was golden. I obviously had done well because he was buying the car. And he goes, Andre, I got to tell you something. Oh, okay. Well, what's that? And he goes, you know how you said earlier that the Audi was quiet, understated, cool, and not everybody knew what it was? It wasn't showing off or anything. I said, yeah, that makes sense. That's what I say. I tell everybody that. And he goes, I bet you tell everybody that, right? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, did trainers tell you to say that? And I said, yeah. And he goes, but do you say it to everybody? I said, yeah, of course I say it to everybody. That's the truth. He goes, but it's not the truth for everybody. And I'll explain. And he broke it down for me. He opened up the conversation like this. He said, okay, but Andre, have you ever been to India? No, never been to India. Okay, do you know a lot about Bollywood? I said, no, I don't know. I know it's like Indian Hollywood. My best friend's mom watches those movies, but I've never seen one. He goes, okay. Do you know anything about Indian culture? I said, no, obviously not. I don't know anything about India. I know American culture. I know Australian culture a little bit. But he goes, okay, but how many of your customers are Indian? I thought it over, and the truth of the matter is it's got to be half. With Facebook and Google and LinkedIn and all these different companies, there's a lot of Indian engineers and Indian managers and Indian designers. There's just an incredible number of Indian people in the Bay Area. And he goes, okay, so half of your customers are Indian. And you tell all of them, even the young guys who are 24, 25-year-old software engineers working at Facebook, you tell all of them that Audi is sophisticated, understated, cool, that doesn't show off too much. I say, yeah, of course, I tell everybody that. I'm not going to change what I say based on people's culture. And he goes, yeah, but you got to understand, these Indian guys that you're selling cars to, they grew up watching movie stars, idolizing Indian Bollywood stars. And you know what those movie stars drove, Andre? No, they drove Audis. And they drove them up to the red carpet, and they were showing off. And I bet you right now, your Indian customers, the young guys that come in here and they're buying an Audi right after they get signed at Facebook, They're buying it because, they like the drive. The technology's cool, but they've got all the money at this point. They can buy what they want. They're buying it because they want to be like their Bollywood stars. They want to be showy. They want to show their success. They want to show that they made it. I was kind of dumbstruck at this. I was like, oh man, I've been screwing this up pretty badly. And he goes, just try this. Tried a couple of times. Young Indian guy comes in to buy a car. Instead of telling him that Audi is understated, sophisticated, whatever you used to say, hey, why would you drive a BMW when the movie stars drive Audis? Don't you want to drive what the movie stars drive? And I got to tell you, it works. I got so many customers after that conversation where they told me, oh, wow, like, that's totally true. Like, I do. My wife wants an Audi because, like, our favorite stars drive Audis. If you're going to be selling something and over half or maybe just about half of your customers are from a certain place and maybe have a certain culture, you should probably find out about that culture, because the stuff that the marketing people are telling you to say and the talking points and all that stuff are probably pretty much focused on the wrong group, because you are talking to customers from all over the world and you have to understand a little bit about different cultures in order to sell them cars.